um, is that success often lies just beyond what you might think of as failure. And people often quit things way too early. They think they're failing, they step out, but they don't realize that there's a super fine line between success and failure. There's times where it's on a knife edge, and if they were to push just that little bit harder, go that little bit further, something that they're interpreting as a failure could literally become a massive victory and success for that person. I remember when I started out coaching, I did dating coaching for guys with social anxiety. This was an area that I had a lot of passion for, and I still do. Although now my coaching is more broad, social anxiety therapy like, and it's a lot less narrow. So many times where I would do a weekend program, and it would be a task for these guys to find a date in a weekend, which is not always an easy task, especially if you've basically had this drought where you've not been on a date in years and years and years and years. I remember many times something would just come through for somebody when they least expect it, and they just push that tiny bit further than they would normally do so. One guy, for example, at the end of this weekend program, we went for a coffee, and he wanted some food, so he said, "Can I get a wrap of the day from McDonald's?" So we went there for a little bit, and he liked a staff member inside there, and decided to ask this staff member out, and they exchanged numbers and communicated with each other afterwards. And he'd had the whole weekend trying, taking loads of action, but not quite seeing the actual result that he wanted. Although he was making progress with his conversation skills and in other areas, he wasn't seeing the actual date come through. And it happened when he least expected it. He pushed himself in that moment, and it just came through. I was coaching a client yesterday who I've been coaching for quite a while, helped her out, made loads of progress in different areas of life. And it's all been therapy like coaching so far. And she come to this decision that she'd done so much therapy like coaching, she'd got the value from it, and was thinking that things have improved, but the rest is up to her and her journey, which is, of course, completely fine. I'm not pressuring someone to do my coaching, and everyone has a stopping point. And I carried on talking to her, and it became clear that she wanted help with other things, accountability, motivation in other areas of life, but didn't want to have all these deep conversations about past stuff because she's talked about it so much, got the value from it, and there's no point in just re-going over stuff. And then I suggested a different program where I hold her accountable and motivate her with different tasks, things that she's been putting off, like tidying the house, clearing things out, getting a refresher driving course, getting a new phone, all these different things. And because I was giving, fighting the battle against myself to give as much value as possible, what could have been a failure turned into a success. And now the person's doing more coaching with me. They're going to do more frequent sessions. So it's a win for me. But if I didn't have confidence in myself, if I panicked in those moments and didn't push, it not push in a sort of pressurized way, but push in a healthy, supportive way. If I backed down in that moment, then I wouldn't have got the victory, that I got. And she wouldn't either. It's always a win-win situation. And it's like a law of life and people and success. That's why there's phrases like keep on going. Sometimes things take longer than you might expect, and you might not even be able to see the result. You might be blind to the result. I don't see how this is going to work. The anxiety mind wants a logical linear path. It wants to see how. It wants to see the process, the formula, the path. But sometimes when you just keep on going, unexpected things come into your life and you're not seeing the path, but it just unfolds. And there's so many times in my life overcoming my challenges, and then especially when I built the business just from scratch, starting from nothing, just jumping into the deep end, building my own coaching business. There were so many times where I really saw the benefit of just keeping on going, just turning up all the time, not giving up, putting the honest hard work in, living life like a warrior. Because there were so many occasions where I got a result and I realized that, wow, if I hadn't have done that gym session, worked on myself, been in that good headspace, been focused, motivated, awake, ready, and committed, I wouldn't have got that result just then. That was on a knife edge, super close, could have gone either way. If I didn't just have that extra bit of energy to push in that moment, I wouldn't have got those results. And I can see this looking back now, all those times where I just about succeeded with something and thought, oh my God, if I hadn't have worked really hard, if I didn't have momentum behind me, this wouldn't have been a success. I would have saw this as a failure. So you learn the value the hard way. And when you really, really fight and win the battle of you versus yourself, you keep winning that battle. It counts as such a personal victory that even if you don't get the outcome that you have in mind, you actually just feel good about yourself and you feel victorious. So much so that you don't care as much about the outcome. And when you keep on going and carry that feeling with you, the success will come in eventually. I learned this in my dating life as well. So many times where I couldn't meet somebody, really, really, really struggled. I was lacking confidence. And now I can see how, in so many situations, just me hesitating, backing off too early, interpreting failure when there wasn't really a failure, just noise. I can see how I was missing out on all those opportunities, all those successes. But when you're really confident, you interpret everything in a positive way. You're fully committed. You're all chips in. You're not going to back out. It's amazing how many times you can succeed. It's like that book, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And he talks about, when a man is just fully committed to something, not going to back down, not going to quit, not going to give in, he is sure to win. Pretty much true in most areas of life. And when the riches start to come, they come in such abundance. And you kind of wonder where they've been hiding all of this time. But all this stuff, it does require courage. There is a bravery element. And what I learned when I was overcoming my own social anxiety, which took me quite some time, I learned that I just have to become a warrior in life. That's what I learned. And something that my mentor at the time explained to me that really stuck, made a difference for me, was the idea of two types of suffering in life. There's the good suffering on the one hand, and there's the bad suffering. So the bad suffering is where you take no action. You just do nothing. And when you just do nothing, anxiety levels get higher. You're more isolated, you're not happy, And there's an automatic suffering that comes with this. So that's one choice. The other choice is the good suffering. And that's where there's temporary suffering in moments where you're pushing yourself. For example, I don't feel like it, but I'm going to go to the gym and train today. There's this person I want to ask out. Not sure if I should, I feel scared, but I'm going to do it anyway. There's a social that I've been meaning to go to, going to go to it. The traveling plans I want to do, I'm going to do it. The suffering is when you overcome the fear and overcome that resistance. But when you've done that, you feel good afterwards and it leads to something good. And if you can win that battle of you versus yourself, you versus your own inner resistance every single day, keep that up for 6 months, a year, 2 years, your life is going to look very, very, very different from how it looks now. And that's the value that I personally got from receiving coaching, because it gave me that accountability and motivation to keep on beating that battle of me versus myself and just go for it. And when you just go for it, it's scary at first until you get experience. And when you get experience, you start to get familiar with the territory that started off unfamiliar. And as you get more familiar with it, your nervous system gets proof that, I'm safe. I'm safe to pursue business. I'm safe to go and talk to a girl that I like. I'm safe to just be myself in these situations. But you need that experience to feel different. You can't think your way out of anxiety or think your way to a better life. Just in the same way that you can't think yourself into a better physique. It's stuff that requires work, action taking, a lot of repetition, and a bit of time as well. But it's not so much time where it's just so daunting and so off-putting. Most people can make huge progress in their lives in 6 months. I think that's pretty good. You can flip the scripts, flip the narrative, and have things going, from going against you to working for you in 6 months. I think that's pretty damn good. And when you stack different personal victories, there's so much momentum on your side that it makes you feel more and more unstoppable as you go on. And when you're making progress, you know you are, because you feel more energized and more powerful. There's like a power in your presence that you can feel. Other people you speak to can feel it as well. And it's something that you've earned from time in the arena, time on the battlefield, time facing your fears, pushing yourself, growing. You something you earn fair and square. So the fine line between success and failure is something that I can tell you about, but it's something that you also have to discover for yourself. You have to have a challenge in life and be pushing yourself to overcome that challenge. And people that lack confidence, they think they're going to fail. And because they think they're going to fail, and their mind's trying to protect them from disappointment, they don't try their hardest. A mediocre attempt, not fully committed, that's usually what happens. And when you turn up like that, you're massively increasing your chances of not succeeding. It doesn't do you any favors. But the amazing thing is, when you can turn up and 100% commit, even if you don't get the outcome you want, you're going to feel victorious. And if you keep on turning up like that, eventually you're going to get some victories. And victories help you in so many ways. They help you beat depression for a start. So depression is, when you feel defeated by life's challenges. And when someone's feeling defeated, what do they need to do? Pick up some wins, especially in the areas that are defeating them. When they pick up those wins, they're going to feel completely different. And because there's that fine line between success and failure, you can't afford to not give it your all. You can't afford not to push and commit to success. Because if you don't fully commit, you're going to miss out on so many things that would have gone your way if only you'd pushed that little bit further. And of course, put things in balance, keep things in perspective. I'm not saying don't be sustainable. I'm not saying to burn out. But I'm saying in those times where you're faced with the challenges and you're taking on your challenges, in those moments you have to fully commit. Commit to living your best life. And if you do that consistently, things will change. You might not see how. You might not know exactly the timeline, but it's like a universal law, a pattern of the world, something like that. You're going to change. Things will start to change. And trust yourself to just find a way. You don't need to think more than one step ahead. Just think about making a bit of progress. Then once you've made that bit of progress and you're in that new position, then you can just think, how do I make some more progress? You don't need to have the end in mind, just bit of progress, bit of progress, bit of progress. Think about how, evolution works. Evolution doesn't have a crystal ball, doesn't look into the future. So say like the eye, for example, highly complex organ. It didn't evolve. There wasn't a future plan or a blueprint for how the eye is going to be. Just an organ that can see a bit of light and dark. How can we improve that a little bit? It was improved a little bit. Then the improved model got improved again, improved again, improved again, refined. Victories on top of victories, improvements on top of improvements. And eventually you have an incredible, complicated machine like the eye that gives you vision. And the point I'm making with that analogy is that you don't need to have this master plan and be thinking 10 steps ahead. That's a recipe for anxiety. That's not how the natural world even works. You can just think about, how can I make some progress in my life from where I'm sitting right now? And then when you're in the new position, make some more progress. Each bit of progress is like a mutation that improves your life. And you're mutating again, until you've stacked all these up and things are just a lot better. So I'm going to now do a bit of meditation, get my cardio in my strength training, all the gym stuff, coach a guy later on. Until next time, hope you have a great rest of your day. And if you're looking to overcome your anxiety and be held accountable, make progress, build confidence with people in different areas of life, and you're open to going down the coaching route, seeing if it can help you out, you're welcome to book your free first coaching session. Just send me an email. There's no strings attached. 2-hour one-to-one session over a video call. And also I do events every single month, and I'm going to start to do virtual events back end of this month, and then once a week. So you're welcome to come to the events, because how's it going, man? Because events are such a great way to build confidence, meet people. You're going to get a lot more from interacting with people at events and taking part versus passively consuming content. Different experience of life, different level of results. Until next time, have a great rest of your day. that's enough of me speaking for now.